Hello, my name is Zach Selnes. This is my mini portfolio final reflection for ED640 School Administration. On the following slides, I will state the learning objective, the evidence or work that I have done in this course that correlates to that learning objective, and some strengths and challenges of mine that relate to that learning objective. On this slide, you can see Learning Objective 1. I will develop and articulate a vision for learning that promotes the success of all students. The evidence that I've used to support meeting this objective is the Climate and Culture paper, the Change Initiative paper, along with the discussion board from Unit 1. And if you clicked on either of the underlined evidence pieces, you will be able to see that particular assignment. In order to promote the success for all students, it's essential to have a clear vision that helps promote a positive culture and climate. I've included the Change Initiative paper because in order to promote change, there are basic steps that should be in place. MDE states several factors for a change leader to be successful, including beginning with a vision, which must be more than a model. However, without having a positive climate and culture, the vision is essentially just a piece of paper or non-existent. So, providing a positive climate and culture is essential in providing a successful learning environment for all students. Using ideas such as celebrating success, being a role model, encouraging development, praise, and complimenting risk-taking that were provided from the School Culture Rewired book, I've clearly stated how to promote a positive climate in my climate and culture paper. My strengths in this objective are understanding developmentally appropriate practices that promote learning in a natural way. Additionally, having a special education background, I believe and know all students can learn, and I have developed positive relationships to lead other staff in ensuring they promote the success in all students. A weakness or challenge is leading and finding my voice at a larger level. I believe I have some great ideas, but simply do not always express them, even if I think they will help promote learning in students. So definitely something I need to do at a larger scale, just speaking up when I know I should be. Learning Objective 2, I will demonstrate the ability to access and improve culture and climate goes hand in hand with Learning Objective 1. In addition to the evidence from Learning Objective 1, I've also included Discussion Board 5 as evidence. In order to improve culture and climate, it is first essential to understand what culture and climate are, and that they are in fact not the same. My climate and culture paper has expressed the differences between culture and climate and how to promote a positive culture and climate. Discussion Board 5 is also included as evidence because the How to Lead Like a Pirate book provided multiple activities to improve culture and climate. Some of the activities from that book that I found would be most beneficial were having a staff retreat, making and eating a meal together, and providing fun experiences throughout the day to promote a positive climate, such as having the music in the hallway example from the book. My strengths are understanding the components of climate and culture, including to be patient when trying to change the culture, seeing or looking for the positive in people in order to help promote a positive culture, and asking questions. I believe when the right questions are asked, then the right answers can be found. A weakness at this time would be allowing myself the amount of time to see the culture evolve to what it needs to be. I know there are a few things that need to change in my district, and it would be great to implement them and see them through, but hopefully once I complete this program, my role will shift into an administration position. I assume that would be in a different district. Maybe it's a little ironic that I ended the last objective with the weakness of being time. Learning Objective 3, I will demonstrate the ability to manage time effectively and plan and schedule the use of physical, human, and material resources is actually a strength of mine. The evidence for this objective are the principal interview and the Voxer assignments. As I spoke with the principal at managing time, I found myself agreeing with almost everything he said. I also realized that most of the things he mentioned I was already doing. I believe I have learned to prioritize my tasks and know when to allow other, not planned, tasks take precedence over other ones. The Voxer assignments and readings from the book Feed the Teachers or They Will Eat the Students provided multiple ways to use time efficiently, such as only having meetings when needed and prioritizing tasks that must be done and those that can wait. That kind of goes with my Steve Covey quote up here. I just really enjoy listening to all of his audio tapes and reading his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People over and over. So, which kind of goes with my strengths are being organized, efficient with my time, and knowing how to prioritize. A challenge and area I need to continue to grow in is scheduling physical priorities and scheduling personnel at a larger scale. I do have two professionals that I schedule, but that's nothing compared to having an entire building to schedule. As I work towards my administration license, I know this will be an area that I will get some experience and be able to work on though. Learning Objective 4, I will demonstrate an understanding of diversity and be able to create and monitor a positive learning and work environment for all is not one that I struggle with, but one that can be a little bit more challenging to demonstrate on paper. I've included the observation summary, discussion board 4, and once again the culture and climate paper as my evidence or learning and growing in this objective. Without having a positive culture, it's going to be difficult to have a positive learning experience. I think in order to first show competency in this area, it's also important to understand that diversity is multifaceted. Diversity is not just about racial differences, but includes language, religion, thinking styles, experiences, and also culture. So understanding different diversities, as I saw in the teaching and learning style from my observation summary that I have provided on here, can help shape different approaches to creating and monitoring a positive environment. Without the understanding of diversity, which includes culture, it will almost be impossible to have enough students and staff needed to make an effective and positive learning environment. Additionally, Gunter and Whitaker, Connors, and Burgess and Hoff provided lots and lots of great examples, techniques, and suggestions to improve or transform a culture. All those books I really enjoyed reading. They're definitely ones I will revisit as time allows. My strengths in this area are my past leadership experiences in retail, my experience in the military and having lived in a very different culture in Japan, and being a positive person myself and being able to see multi perspectives in most situations. A challenge is my limited exposure to different grade levels and ethnicity in my educational career. However, as Stacy mentioned in our Zoom session, experience brings experience. So understanding that will help me seek experiences that I need to continue to grow in. I believe Objective 5, I will demonstrate the ability to use problem-solving skills and a shared decision-making to reach solutions is a huge objective that I grew and learned a lot from this course. There's just so many great resources out there that provided such great insight on how to make change effective, including everyone on the team. Um, the evidence of learning I've provided is a change matrix diagram, which goes with one of those great resources, the MDE Change Leadership Guideline, and the Change Initiative paper. The Change Matrix diagram and the MDE Change Leadership are resources I've already printed off and are sitting on my desk. I found the MDE guideline to be extremely relevant, encouraging, and useful in seeking problem-solving skills to reach solutions, especially in regards to change. I actually printed 2 copies of the Change Matrix off, one for me and one for my principal. He's in his second year as a principal role, and I thought the matrix would be useful for him, especially with undergoing a few changes that weren't quite successful. So maybe nonchalantly, I kind of slipped it to him. I really like the matrix and being able to visually see all the components needed to make a successful change, which leads to having a shared decision. Also, the matrix will come in handy to problem solve a change that is not successful. To be able to look at the end result, whether it's anxiety, frustration, confusion, or whatever else, and trace it back to see what was missing will prove priceless in determining the solution to make the successful change. There were several other articles in addition to the MDE Change Leadership Guideline, but understanding why some staff are resistant to change in itself is a great problem-solving tool. My strengths in this objective are understanding learning and realizing that change can be complicated. I understand the importance and how to use the change matrix, and I believe I'm a great collaborator. However, besides my paraprofessionals, I'm essentially a one-person team, which kind of goes with my challenge at this moment. So I do work very closely with the school readiness teachers, but I'm the only ECSE teacher in my district, so I really have no one in my specific role to help problem solve with. But I have learned to utilize other staff, such as the school readiness personnel that I mentioned, and the paraprofessionals that work with me. So but something that's can be a little bit difficult just trying to seek out others that are in this exact situation I am. Learning Objective 6. I will demonstrate the ability to utilize data for instructional decision making is a great strength of mine. However, I believe this is the most challenging one to show growth in from this course. I once again have provided the change matrix, change initiative paper, observation summary, and discussion board 4 as evidence of growth. Using the observation summary, I would be able to use the data I collected from the teacher to determine if any instruction needed to be changed. While it's not specifically data, the Best Schools book, which related to discussion board 4, provided a great insight on how instruction at all levels should be. Using the suggestions from that book and gathering other research, I'll be able to use that data to make instructional decisions for grades other than early childhood. That leads to one of my strengths in this objective, data collection and instruction at the early childhood level. As a special education teacher, I constantly collect data and use that to develop or modify goals and activities for my students. I will need to continue to grow in decoding data such as MCAs and have more exposure to observations in order to determine what or which teacher's instruction needs to be modified to have each child be successful. I've provided the evidence of the Twitter chat and discussion board 3 to show my growth in Objective 7. I will demonstrate skills to implement policies and procedures for a safe, secure environment and identify areas of vulnerability associated with the school. The Twitter chat and discussion board 3 both provided great opportunities to grow and learn how to implement policies and procedures for creating a safe and secure environment by personally interviewing a middle school principal and his experience with providing a safe environment, along with reading over the many different ways other principals have provided secure school environments by reflecting on their past experiences while reading through all of the discussion boards that were provided. Um, my strength in this objective of being able to read, understand, and implement policies and procedures. I believe this is a skill not everyone can do. Some just read it and leave it at that. So it's very important to know how to understand those and implement policies appropriately. Looking at the majority of the crises that were shared on the discussion board and ones I have personally encountered, another area of strength of mine is being crisis prevention intervention trained and understanding the importance of positive behavior intervention in sports. Both CPI and PBIS can provide great tools and skills in de-escalating students and stopper behavior before it becomes a crisis. So like I mentioned, just looking over all the discussion boards, it seemed like student behavior was um, the vast majority of the crises that different administrators have experienced, which kind of goes into a weakness or a challenge so far with this learning objective, which is also very fortunate though is my lack of exposure to different crises. Besides the student behaviors, I have not experienced other crises, which right now is just perfectly fine with me. I'm sure it'll happen once I'm into that administration position. So I'm totally fine with waiting to experience that till a later moment. Some final thoughts as I wrap up this mini portfolio presentation. I really enjoyed this course and have thoroughly enjoyed each and every book. I will admit it was a lot of work, but in a sense it was kind of easy work because it was very enjoyable. I found myself immersed in the readings, taking lots and lots and lots of notes, and looking forward to implementing some of the strategies when the time is right. All four of those books I really did enjoy. Um, and the Lead Like a Pirate book had some really cool ideas. I mentioned it earlier, but making and eating a dinner together or a meal together, I think, is a really cool idea that I've never really thought about before. But I could see how it would definitely bond a group together. The discussion boards were relevant to learning to lead and become an effective leader. I realized the importance of developing cohesion to develop a positive culture and climate and to implement change. Those were two huge takeaways that I took from this course, just developing that positive culture and climate and how to implement change successfully. Without a positive culture and climate, there will be resistance to change, staff members will be dissatisfied, and the students are the ones that end up suffering. While I've grown in each of the objectives, I understand there's still a lot of growth needed. I need to continue to find my voice and speak up when needed. I need to share my thoughts and ideas to help lead to positive student growth. I also need to continue my growth in Objective 3, particularly with managing money and people. I also need to continue my growth in Objective 6, utilizing data to make instructional decisions, especially at the older grade levels, and Objective 7 as I develop more experiences learning the required policies and procedures to keep schools safe. This assignment has also given me the opportunity to see what is at stake as I continue to develop my eFolio and reflect on my learning throughout this entire program. So I thank you for that. I realize that's going to be a little bit hard work too, but I'm up for the challenge, so I don't ever stray away from a challenge. And I really enjoy the work, like I've said, in this whole entire course. So I think looking forward to developing a huge portfolio for the entire program is going to be very fun in a sense, just to be able to reflect on everything that I've been able to do. Which leads me to this mini portfolio has given me the opportunity to reflect on everything I've learned in this course, and lets me look forward to the next chapter in my educational career. There are many articles that I use to gain growth in each of the 7 objectives, but the ones listed here were most often used, and they're ones that I've referred back to several times already. There are also ones that I'm going to continue to refer back to. But once again, thank you for all the great and relevant learning opportunities throughout this course. I truly appreciate having the opportunity to learn and grow from worthwhile experiences. So I've had other courses, not at Moorhead, but different colleges where it just seems like a lot of busy work. So I've mentioned there was a lot of work, but it was great work. So I appreciate having everything very relevant and worthwhile. So thanks once again.